Yeah, the year was 1958. We were returning 8 F-100s Super Sabres back from the Worldwide Gunnery Meet in Las Vegas, Nevada to Bitburg, Germany. And I was leading this flight. We ended up getting into Harmon, Newfoundland. Weather was pretty bad, so we had to wait a few days until we got a good weather forecast for the Azores, which is a little speck of land out in the middle of the North Atlantic. Finally, we got the clearance that the weather was good. We taxied out. I was leading the first flight, got on the runway, and my number 3 man had a problem, so I had number 3 and 4 go back to the ramp. So only 2 of us took off. Reported in at 35,000 feet over Argentia, heading of 090. And then we should have been able to home in on the beacon in the Azores. But after I called the first ocean vessel, I didn't hear anything. And by this time, my wingman pulled up and said that his radio and then his receiver and his navigation gear was out. So when I didn't get a response from the ship, I knew that my transmitter was out. I didn't hear anything, so I knew my receiver was out. And about that time, I looked down and my navigation equipment went out. We had no choice, so we just pressed on across the Atlantic for 3 hours at 500 miles an hour on a heading of 090. Only hope was that there'd be a little peak sticking up through the clouds about 20 or 30 miles west of the field in the Azores. At the end of 3 hours, we were on minimum fuel, and I picked up this little peak. It's just barely sticking up through the clouds. So we pulled our power back and went smoking right down over the peak, and then I estimated it was about 125 degrees. Luckily, we came right over the field, dropped our gear, and landed, and both of us turned off the runway and ran out of fuel. We developed a lot of initiative and ingenuity by having to handle all these different tasks. And boys growing up now really need to understand to be able to handle the situations like I just talked about. You need to be able to instantly start thinking of alternatives of how to handle a situation that you're facing.